Welcome to the Hollywood Scholar. I'm Chad Morgan, and Witcher Season 4 at Netflix is officially in production. And there's a lot of news surrounding it that is officially confirming a lot of the theories I've had over the last several years. Now, the primary thing that we knew last year when it was originally going to go into production is that Seasons 4 and 5 were going to film back to back, and then the writer strike happened, and they hadn't finished Season 5 yet, so they were just going to do Season 4, and then the actor strike, so they couldn't do either of them, and now they're finally gearing up back for production, and they're going to be doing Seasons 4 and 5 again back to back. Now, a primary theory I had from the moment that we knew that Seasons 4 and 5 were going to film back to back is that it was absolutely not going to be full seasons. They don't have the time, money, or scheduling to do that. They're going to be half seasons, similar to how Season 3 of The Witcher was divided up into 2 volumes. I believe that this is just Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Season 4 being rebranded as Season 4 and Season 5 of The Witcher. That is still firmly my belief, but there are some other things coming with this news that aren't that surprising, really aren't that surprising. And with the announcement that the Rat spinoff is probably canceled and going to be incorporating what little footage they filmed into Season 4, that means that there's even less of Season 4 that they need to film. So this is going to be a joke. At this point, because of when they went into production, I very much doubt we'll see any footage, let alone a season, until the end of 2025 at the absolute earliest. But with them filming Season 5 right thereafter, we'll probably see some of that within a year of the release of Season 4, maybe even quite sooner. But we'll have to see. That's still a very long ways away. At least we have the release of the new book in the Witcher series to look forward to in between that, but this is a sign of defeat in my opinion. Netflix is finally realizing that this show was never going to succeed, A, without Henry Cavill, and B, without writers who actually care about the source material and about giving fans what they want and what they love. Now, in tandem with this news, there's some other things that I wanted to briefly talk about, one of which is the casting of an important figure from English mythology who is incorporated primarily into the final chronological Witcher novel, Lady of the Lake, but her character also appears briefly in a few previous novels. Now, this character is the Lady of the Lake. She is a central figure in English mythology, one of the most important, primarily known for the legend of King Arthur. But this isn't one of these other characters, like Milva, for example, who comes from the southern Nilfgaardian region, close to the desert, who can reasonably be race swapped as a black girl. That one makes sense to me. I'm totally okay with Milva being recast. That one makes sense. I don't like the actress that they've cast, but there are reasonable ways to recast a character, and that is one of them. I doubt they had any sort of reasoning or logic going into that recast, but that one they stumbled into some good reasoning for. The Lady of the Lake, I see no legitimate reason to race swap, and that's not even the worst of it. There are some concerning suggestions being made with the casting of the Lady of the Lake. So we have this casting announcement here from the Redanian Intelligence that confirms this character, the Blackfish from Game of Thrones, will be cast as a traveling bard or a traveling storyteller, and this other actress, this teenage girl who is at this time 16 years old, will be playing the Lady of the Lake, and she's clearly Asian. She seems like a sweet young woman, but she's A, too young to play the role, and B, she's Asian. This is the Lady of the Lake. We wouldn't take some prominent Japanese, for example, figure, some very prominent mythological figure in a samurai movie and make it a little white girl. We wouldn't do that. That wouldn't make sense because it is mythology. It is ingrained into their very culture. This is worse than a normal race swap in a franchise like The Witcher. This one just makes no sense whatsoever, and she's far too young for the role as well. This is another better look at her, and she's just a child. She is just a child, and it creates several problems in the story because the majority of what we see of this character, Lady of the Lake, is from the final book, Lady of the Lake, where she is a middle-aged, if not past middle-aged woman, studying the stories of Ciri and working with an omnimancer, I believe, to try to give Ciri an anchor in space and time. During that book, Ciri is lost in the multiverse, can't find the right time, can't find the right universe, the right world, and the Lady of the Lake helps Ciri find grounding in the continent, finds her time, finds her reality. And that's a very important and really cool story. But she also has a very mature sexual relationship with a very ugly man. Kind of looks like Mr. Harvey Weinstein. And that's not going to be appropriate for a lot of reasons. At the very, very best, this is just a race swap, and they'll probably get an older actress for her when they eventually get to season 5. But with the prominence that they've placed on her character, she's starting out the season for season 4, and she's appearing at the table read. That's what this original image is from. This is from the table read. This is too prominent of a depiction of this casting to be just for a one-off scene, because there are a few scenes that we see her as a young woman older than this in situations that this 16-year-old, it's still inappropriate to put the 16-year-old in the positions that we see the younger version of the Lady of the Lake in. It's still inappropriate. These younger versions of the Lady of the Lake should be nothing more than cameos. More extras should be cast in the role of the younger version of the Lady of the Lake, but they put such emphasis on this casting that I worry that they won't be aging her up when the time comes. So there are some rather disgusting things to be extrapolated from this casting announcement. I hope it's just for some of these early scenes in season 4 that they made a big deal out of nothing and she's little more than an extra, because otherwise we have some serious problems on our hands when it comes to the legality of Netflix's season 4, if nothing else. I'm just disgusted thinking about what they're going to do with this young woman, even in the young versions of her role, if she isn't being recast for the older version. But the Redanian Intelligence has a theory for why she's being put forward to the front of season's 4 casting to such a degree, and it comes from some quotes from Baginski from last year, where he said that in the world of The Witcher, there's different storylines, so any version of a story could be changed based on who's telling the story, and that would explain the recast from Henry Cavill to Liam Hemsworth. And they believe the reason why the Lady of the Lake as a young woman, with the person who played Blackfish in Game of Thrones in this role of a traveling storyteller, will be used as a story device to explain the recast, and he'll be telling her the story of Witcher season 4, and there'll be the narration device for season 4, and that could work, that could be fine, and just make some throw off reference of, oh yeah, Geralt looks different now because I'm telling the story and I imagine him as Liam Hemsworth instead of Henry Cavill. It's weird. It doesn't work in the lore like Baginski claims it does, but at least they'd be going away from the awful, awful connotations of hiring a teenage girl in this role. But at the very best, this is a race swap in a very poor situation where it is the Lady of the Lake. You can't race swap the Lady of the Lake. There are other characters that you could get away with, like Milva, for example, but you can't do it for the Lady of the Lake. So even at the best, this is a problem for Witcher seasons 4 and 5. At the very, very worst, I'd be getting ready to arrest some folks. Gonna be honest here. So a lot of concerning things coming out of The Witcher season 4. I'd love to hear what all of you guys think in the comments down below, but that's all I have for today. I will see you guys on the next video. Anon.
Hey, yo, are you feeling what I'm doing up in here? Oh, I know you are. Do you miss all the good, compelling stories that we used to get back in Hollywood that they ain't putting down no more? I know you missing it. So check out my book series, Odyssey of a Phoenix, a mythological epic about philosophy, morality, and modern-day mental illness issues, baby. Book 1, Down in Flames. Book 2, Apocalypse Then. These are currently on sale. What are you waiting for? Get your hands on them. And we got Book 3, Kill the Dark, is coming down the pipeline. Just wait for all the good stuff that's dropping. You ain't gonna be disappointed, fam.